Hi everybody, welcome back to the Gear Shed. Today we're having a look at this little atom light. This is a small LED keyring light, or you could probably put it onto your zip pull as well. It's made by a company called Polymath, which is a UK based company, and this, surprisingly enough, is also made in the UK, which makes a refreshing change from everything made in China. Now, as you can see, it is small. It's very, very small. If you didn't have the split ring on, you would lose it for sure. My sort of smallest keyring slash EDC light I've been using is this little Mech Army X1. This runs on a little lithium ion battery, and the actual battery that it runs on is actually bigger than the atom light. So it is tiny. It is definitely a small little light. Very unintrusive. You're not going to notice that on your keyring. You're not going to notice that on your zip pull. They weigh 5 grams, and I'm not sure whether that includes the split ring or not. But judging by the weight of it, it probably doesn't include the split ring. It's quite a small, tiny light. Now, you buy these in packs. Polymath do sort of two packs of them. You can buy them pack of 3, and that's £6.99 for a pack of 3, or a pack of 6, which is £9.99. So, yeah, if you're probably better and cheaper to buy them at the £9.99 mark, save yourself a couple of quid. Now, the packaging-wise, you just get this little instruction manual that tells you bits and pieces about it. These actually are replaceable batteries. They're not a disposable item, which is another refreshing change. They run on little tiny watch batteries, and we'll have a look at those in a minute. I'll take it apart and show you how it works. These are AG1 batteries, and there's 3 of them in there. So yeah, so light wise, output wise, then you can see that it's not, obviously for the price, it's not the most super duper made product. You can see there's a few, you might be able to make it out, it's sort of the bit of discoloration on the lens there. Lens is just a plastic thing. Now, has one setting, so it's just on, off, and to do that you hang on to the rubber body and you twist the key ring, and it comes on. Straight drive, there's no electronics, there's no funky springs or extra modes or anything like that. It just runs straight on the battery voltage, what's coming out of the batteries. So when you buy it, when it's got new batteries in it, it's going to be its brightest, and then as you're using it, those batteries are going to dim, so you're going to get decreasing lights. There's no regulation or anything like that in it, but for the price, who cares? It's got glow-in-the-dark material underneath this lens here, so when you have had it on for a long time or exposed to a lot of light, it'll glow, so it glows green. Now, light-wise, you might be able to make that out actually when I do that on again. It's quite a blue, that ghosty blue sort of alien Chinese LED color. It's not, I mean, this isn't something you're going to be using a ton. So if you're a bit of a tint snob and you don't like the tint of that, it's probably not going to be for you. It's that real harsh blue light. But as an emergency backup, it's going to be fine. I would put these on sort of the keyring, the zip pull of your tent or something like that, and you can use that or hang it up in your tent. If you wanted to go super lightweight and only needed a few minutes of light every evening, be the way forward. Or stick it as a backup in your pocket, or maybe emergency kit or something else. I mean, it weighs so little. You can give it to somebody, and if they lose it, it's not going to be the end of the world. Now let's have a look at these batteries and take it apart. Now what you need to do is you need to unscrew it all the way, so you just keep screwing this and it gets a little bit looser. I haven't put the rubber cover on this very well, back onto the last time I took it off. Now what you need to do is take the split ring off. So take your split ring off, and then you push the little silver end where the split ring goes into, you give that a push, and the rubber will come off, and then all hell breaks loose and all the little bits come out. So you can see that. So rubber cover comes off, so that's just a little, it's probably a PU plastic cover. It's not that grippy, so you do have to grip quite hard to get it to turn, because it slides around. Actually, it's not a sort of grippy fit to the metal of the light itself, so it does move around a little bit, so you have to grip it. The end of it has no real contact per se, it's just got a little bit down the end that it touches, and it's got a rubber O-ring. Now these are pretty much just deemed splash proof, so I wouldn't be dunking this in the water anytime soon, and I'd hasten to believe by the way it's made, it's only really probably securely watertight to any degree once it's turned on, because when you unscrew it, obviously the O-ring's up at this end and the body is down here, so there's probably a gap. You won't be able to see that underneath the little rubber cover, but yeah, bearing in that mind that only really fully watertight, if at all, when it's screwed up. Now the other end is the LED, and then this little stack of AG1 batteries, so 3 of them, and it comes in a little plastic sleeve to keep them together. It says in the instructions when you're changing that to keep them in the sleeve, which makes sense because otherwise you're going to be chasing them with a pair of tweezers all around the place to try and get them in. So, putting them back together, what I found also putting these back together, just because of the way the little rubber boot works, you want to screw it back on. Screw it all the way on until the light comes on, as you can see, and then put the rubber cover on, because what I was finding is you're getting it halfway down, and if it wasn't screwed all the way on, it would get jammed in the gap between where the threads are, and it would make it a lot harder to get on and off. So you need to fiddle around a little bit there, and then you get your key ring, put your split ring back on, otherwise you won't be able to do anything with it. Try not to get out of the frame there. Cool, and twist, and it's off. Alright, so all in all, it's a funky little thing. It would probably be, I think there's one or two other, I think there's a Kickstarter that had an LED torch that was disposable. The batteries were changeable on it, which is probably a little bit smaller than this, but slightly different format. But this is probably the smallest, easily sourced LED light. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take you into my luxurious toilet inside, but it's the darkest room I've got in the house to try and give you an idea of how bright it is. Going to struggle with that really because using my phone camera, it's going to be adjusting for light, but it might give you an idea of perhaps the spread of it, and we can have a talk about how bright it really is compared to something else I've got. Alright, so let's go and have a look at that then. In the smallest room of my house, this is the darkest room, this is my downstairs toilet. Now, it's not a very big room, it's about 4 foot by maybe 3 foot, thereabouts. With the atom light, I'll turn the atom light on and give you an idea now that the poor old camera on my phone is struggling big time to give you an idea of how bright it is. So, looking on the video, you will see that it seems to be very, very blue. It's not that blue. I mean, that almost looks like it's just a straight blue light. It's not. It's probably brightness-wise. Now, if we point down, let's just point down the sink here. On the camera, it's showing that it sort of barely lights up this part of the sink. It's actually, for my eyes, all this is lit up. And if I pull away, that's still giving me plenty of light to see all the details there. And on the video, it will seem like it's almost black. So if I move it away, that's still lighting up. I can still see the sink, but for you guys, you won't be able to see it just because of the sensor on the camera. So it is brighter than what you can see here. Not as blue. Very useful light. I mean, if I, again, you're not going to be able to see, if I hold it up, this is up at my head height, I can still see the floor. So, I mean, I can see everything in my camera, my tripod, everything like that in the room, but you will see it's being black. So, it is quite a decent light for its size. I mean, come on, it's the size of a peanut. So, but as a comparison, so let's have a look at the X1. So we'll just turn that off. The X1, this is at its lowest setting, which I think of off the top of my head is 10 lumens. Okay, so it's quite a leap in brightness. This guy's 10 lumens or 130. Okay, so 10 lumens is a lot of light. Like this is, yeah, you can easily navigate around a darkened room with that, not a problem. So we go back to the atom. She's very, very, almost, this is almost like a cheap, when you see the cheap photon light copies, it's got like that. I mean, the big thing with this is because there's no focus beam and it's quite floody compared to the X1 I just showed you, it is going to look different because this is just like pouring out a massive wall of light. Right, so don't know whether that's very helpful or not, but it's certainly enough. Like you could find a keyhole in the middle of the night. I could quite easily navigate around a darkened room, especially if you're light adapted. This is actually quite a bit of light to see stuff. Obviously, it's going to be close-up stuff. You're not going to be able to walk. You'd struggle to walk down a sort of a pathway with this unless you're holding it about knee height to see where you're going. All right, so let's have a look at this little glow-in-the-dark bit when we turn it off. Again, that's actually quite light. It's, yeah, you'd be really struggling. It's well below sort of half a lumen or less to be able to see with it like that. It's not putting out any light at all. It's really just to be able to find this, or find whatever you've attached it to in the dark. Okay, so that hopefully it gives you a little bit of an idea. As I said, it's not blindingly bright light, but it's very deceiving on the camera because the camera is not actually picking up the amount of light we've got. I mean, this is where if you point it to here, the light is actually, for me, is still way up here somewhere, whereas the camera is not actually picking it up. So whatever you see on there, it's probably half as bright again, at least. So there, yeah, it gives you an idea. So all in all, it's a cool little thing. Great little emergency stuff. The cheapest chips, maybe a stocking filler for Christmas. Chuck it in for Nan's keyring or something like that. It's going to be one of these things that you're going to stick on your zip pull or pop in your pocket or stick in your survival kit and forget that you've got it. And then the day that you need it, it will, it'll probably be quite useful. Alrighty guys, so thank you very much. Remember to subscribe, like, whack some comments in the comments box. Don't mind answering anything you need to know about anything at all. Until next time, cheers and thanks very much.